Dear students, I am Professor Vibhuti Patel, Head of the Department of Economics of SNDT Women's University, Mumbai. Today's topic for discussion is Women, Technology and Environment, which is part of paper number 4, Women in Economics, and module 19. Scholars have often asked question, is technology boon or bane for women? Is science blessing for women or a curse for women? We will try to examine pros and cons of this reality. Technological development, modernization, scientific innovations have played very important role in women's work participation. By and large, it was understanding that in manufacturing sector, in agrarian sector, wherever there has been introduction of modern technology, scientific methods, it has resulted in retrenchment of women as they are not often skilled and they are not offered skill training. Mostly like skill training is offered to men, women are not offered. So when the new technologies come, they are not able to cope up with it and they become redundant. And also when women relocate themselves, so many old skills which they have, they also become redundant, and this whole process is called de-skilling. And only in information technology we see that women are getting entry as a computer operators, as call center employees, teleworkers. Even the technology like social media is making so many housewives and self-employed women self-sufficient because they can reach the market instead of doing door-to-door selling and promoting their products. They upload the images of their products, they describe and they contact the potential customer. So that way it has opened a new avenue for women, enterprising women. Globalization has brought fast changes in the technologies and environment. Women have played like important role in electronics industry, information technology, food processing industry, agro industries. In textile areas also women have played very important role in the context of modern technologies and scientific development. There should be like a major support and the comprehensive support in terms of new labor legislation, social security and many other technical support services are required in the industrial sector and in the economy so that women can take best advantages of scientific development and technological changes that are coming so fast. Research is conducted under the Indo-Dutch program in the 80s revealed that in many poorer countries, and I quote, women are rigorously socialized to work uncomplainingly under patriarchal control and at their allotted tasks, however dull, laborious, physically harmful or badly paid it may be. There are large numbers of poor and desperately needy women in many countries looking for work within the narrow confines of socially imposed inequitable demand of labor and strict labor taboos on their mobility. These women have become ideal workers for this kind in the International Division of Labor, where all the production activities are taking place in developing countries of Asia, Africa and Latin America, and the advanced countries, they are managing the financial capital. Now it is in this context that you can see that the women's new relationship with scientific development and modern technologies that come up. In India, Dalit women have shouldered heaviest burden of imperialist globalization in terms of deprivation of daily necessities and increased labor intensity without rising tier income. In India, when 94% of women work in the decentralized sector, which has a high degree of labor redundancy and obsolescence, and because of the temporary, routine and monotonous nature of work, these women have very little control over their life or even most of the time it remains a dead-end job. There are no chances for them to have upward mobility in whatever work that they are doing. In the agrarian sector, wherever we have a cash crops, fruits, mushroom, flowers, vegetables, they are replacing the traditional subsistence crops where women played a very important role. Whenever cash crop is introduced, the men take over, and it has also created tremendous fruit shortages, because subsistence crop, there is no alternative to subsistence crop. You can't eat plastic, you have to eat real food. And women involved in it is not only taking away women's job opportunities as a cultivators and farmers, but it is also threatening the food sovereignty of our country. So these are the larger impact of women, and women who have to manage the food supply and to the family members, they face tremendous difficulties when prices of essential food items and vegetables and fruits, they go up. And most of the fruits, they are cornered by agro industries, and that is why the common masses which were earlier getting seasonal fruits, they are also not getting. The focus of green revolution only on rice and wheat, it gives you security in terms of carbon, but what about the micronutrients? Currently major challenge that our country is facing, and even world over, is a deficiency of micronutrients. And for that, vegetables, leafy vegetables or fruits and variety of food items is very, very important, and that has gone away in this whole process. Industrial technologies, like they have weeded out women from the traditional manufacturing sectors such as textiles. Like there was a time where in cities like Kolkata or Coimbatore or Mumbai or Ahmedabad, lakhs of women were working, and now you see them in hundreds, not even thousands. Jute industry, small scale industries, due to introduction of new semi-automated or automated machines. Industrial training institutes, we have hundreds of them throughout the country, and now we are also trying to modernize those ITIs with the new kind of technologies that labor force will have to handle. In that also, women are not given training for all types of handling all types of technologies. Generally, most of the industrial training institutes train women only in tailoring and screen printing, while all other, there are more than 200 courses available of managing the lathe machine or managing automobiles or welding or electrician. This kind of courses are not offered to women. Southern states have started recruiting women to handle new industrial technologies because of the shortage of male labor, because workers from Karnataka or Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, there is a mass migration, out migration to Gulf countries and other countries. So the skilled labor, there is a tremendous shortage of skilled workers, and as a result now you see that, that there is a positive attitude towards training women to handle the technologies, so that you have a skilled labor skilled labor force is locally available. Shram Shakti report had demanded that the women workers must be given technical training to handle new machineries, so that they can gain full employment in all industrial technologies. And this we have to learn from the history of textile industry, jute industry and several manufacturing industries, because whenever the industries decide to bring new technologies, they consciously pick up only male workers for giving them technology, and the moment new technologies are installed in the factory or in the firm, they would tell that, oh, these women, they don't know anything, they can't handle the technology, and that is used as a reason for retrenching women. This happened as a result of collusion between male trade union leaders and the mill owners, who wanted to weed out women from the textile industry. When a person like Ila Bhatt, who was also a member of Textile Labour Union, she said that what will these women do without job? They will have to starve, they will have to Bombay, Ahmedabad, for generations they have done work for textile industry. There was a time when a woman in textile industry delivered a baby, she had to immediately after delivery, she had to report for work. Her neighbor or mother-in-law would go with her to the factory, so that she was allowed to feed the baby every 2 hours or so. So that was the demand of women workers in the early 20th century. And suddenly in 50 years time, when the new technologies came, when women were thrown out, and then her own colleagues, Ilaben's own colleagues in Textile Labour Association, they only turned against her. They instigated male workers by saying that, look, if now the new machines have come, we don't need so many workers, machines are going to replace human beings, and if we uh, don't throw out women from the textile industry, you will lose your job. And so many man workers, they had gone to burn Elaben's house. No, this is a very tragic scenario that we have faced. And then Elaben resigned from Textile Labor Association because the mill owners and the male trade unions did not budge. They signed the agreement that women should be thrown out of textile industry. And this is how Seva came into existence. The women who were thrown out of textile industry, in collaboration with Elabat, they registered a trade union called Self-Employed Women's Association. Reservation of seats for girls and women in engineering college is a welcome move. Some states have adopted it. Maharashtra has taken a lead, where 30% of all seats in engineering colleges are reserved for girl students who passed out their 12th standard. And as a result, we have seen that this state has a highest number of women engineers in India. And these women engineers are working not only in electronic or nanotechnology, they are working in all sectors of the economy. They are there in biotechnology, they are there in food processing industries, food production industries. Many of them are in automobile industries. They are also, many of them have become, they are also working as a motor women. They are managing monorail. Mumbai Metro also has women engineers working for it. Due to introduction of agricultural technologies and agricultural mechanization, high yielding varieties, a whole green revolution package, wherever it was implemented, we saw that women were weeded out. The classic examples, they are Haryana, Punjab, part of Gujarat, where green revolution technologies were introduced. And in those cases also, like overall prosperity of the families increased, and that was also another reason where women were pulled out. But women in those households have played managerial role in agricultural management. There has already been a major shift in the cropping pattern from subsistence crop to cash crop, and also the plant varieties or the crop varieties have been reduced, say rice, millet, corn, wheat, which are the subsistence crops. From there the shift has been to fruit cultivation, mushroom cultivation, flower cultivation, vegetable cultivation that has taken place in the agriculture and horticultural areas. This process has affected women's employment in agrarian sector. Several studies have shown that shift from subsistence to cash crop production invariably leads to women being the first to lose their jobs and also entitlements. As a result of shrinking self-employment prospects for women, large majority of women in the rural and urban areas, they become part of the reserve army of unemployed, or they enter into the lowest domestic work, lowest paid domestic work, because now the only increase in the employment of women, which is called service sector, except for IT, where the educated English knowing women are there, but when it comes to less educated non-English knowing women, most of them enter the workforce as a domestic workers. When it comes to horticulture and floriculture, we have seen that the expansion of internal and external markets for horticulture and floriculture products have encouraged many farmers to use their land for fruit cultivation and flower cultivation. Introduction of biotechnology, food technology, then fruit and flower preservation technologies, because now the shelf life of any food item or fruit item or any flowers has increased due to refrigeration, new technologies of refrigeration, and processing technologies like the food preservation technologies, fruit preservation technologies, flower preservation technologies have also had a very new input. And women who have entered into this field, they have become entrepreneurs. So you see entry of many science educated women who are into beverage making, bakery products, and also a variety of pickles and spices and food items that they are preparing. They use the vacuum technology to enhance the shelf life of the food items. When it comes to animal husbandry and dairy development. So self-help groups have played an encouraging role in when it comes to rural women, and they consider like animal husbandry and dairy development as commercially viable proposition. Now, due to pressure of the women's movement, women have managed to get a decision-making power and control over finances generated from this kind of activities, which is along with their care work, they are also doing say animal husbandry and dairy, providing milk to the dairies, which are spreading almost all states have their own dairies. Banking and credit facilities are also targeted to women beneficiaries through Samagra Gram Swarojgar Yojana by Government of India. So, this self-employed women can avail various facilities from the government funding. In sericulture, women have played a pivotal role. In last 30 years, rural women in most of the Indian states are getting roped in for sericulture, the cultivation of silkworms, then mulberry plantation, handling of silkworm eggs, monitoring day and night, different stages of growth of silkworms, and silk processing and weaving. Karnataka is the major hub for that, but even other states have also now started developing sericulture. Women in sericulture need training in scientific methods of silk and acquaintance to modern technologies. Market for silk products has expanded as variety of pure and synthetic mix silk is available now. It is in circulation, it is also affordable to common people. The synthetic silk is moderately priced. Fashion industry has also given boost to silk production, but women workers in sericulture have hardly benefited from the same. Fisher women have faced major challenges because of the new technology, introduction of new technologies, the trawlers and refrigeration facilities which are controlled by men. Women have faced a major setback during last 3 decades. Concentration and centralization of economic resources in the hands of men in fisheries have rendered women fish vendors paupers in many sectors. Periodically, agitations also are taking place of these fisher women. Women's participation in the Fisher Folks Union has declined. Their spokespersons have been silenced. Lack of technological know-how, limited credit facilities and absence of social security have gone against women fisher folks. There is a need to do the gender audit of mega developmental schemes and programs which are very useful to seal the leakages that disempower women and bring to fore the women's component in terms of employment, educational opportunities, skill development, women's entitlement and also asset ownership. Because every time there is a development, mega development project, it also displaces population due to natural as well as man-made disasters. Women are the greatest victims of natural disasters such as floods or earthquakes, social disasters such as caste, communal or ethnic conflict or war. Women, economic disasters displaced by, it creates displacement through mega projects where women lose their entitlement, their property right, and free play of market forces unleashed by the economic reforms have made majority of Indian women more vulnerable in factories, in mines, in service sector. Government of India appointed second National Commission for Labour in 2000 to focus on 5 aspects: to review the laws regarding women, what kind of social securities are available to women in the context of modernization and technological development, what are the umbrella legislations for women in unorganized sector, impact of globalization on women workers and condition of child care, child workers as well as the occupational health issues that women are facing in this whole race of modernization. The recommendations, they have served the interest of economic reforms which benefit the world capital, multinational corporations as well as transnational corporations. So, women workers' interests are not kept at center stage. The energy and environmental policies, like since 1980s we have seen that the governments and development agencies have become much more aware of the need to consider gender issues in the environmental and natural resource management programs that lead to changes in project design as well as implementation. Ecofeminists have played crucial role in evolution of new gender sensitive approach among the policymakers, but in actual practice what we see that the economic vested interests they prevail and they reign supreme. When it comes to water policy also, like the focus on commercialization of water, selling bottled water has also created more vulnerability to women. Gender economists have critiqued the watershed management and rainwater harvesting programs that focus solely on water utilization for agriculture and water utilization for industry, whereas the mass of rural and urban poor women have to spend many hours fetching drinking water and water from household consumption, and that too when it comes to consumption of water for household purposes, in so many places clean water is not available, and if you want clean and safe water you have to buy, which poor people cannot afford. So, the community based water supply of clean water, that becomes a major challenge. Policymakers now realize that women play essential role in management of natural resources, including soil management, water management, forest management, energy management, and often have a profound traditional and contemporary knowledge of natural world around them. Subsequently, the donor agencies came to see women as especially vulnerable. Their responsibilities as a day-to-day environmental managers make women both victim of and contributors to natural environment's degradation and pollution, and this dichotomy that has to be dealt with very sensitively with the human face. Gradually, awareness grew among many grassroots success stories of women fighting to conserve local resources, such as greening of deserts in Rajasthan, Apiko movement in Karnataka, Chipko movement in Tehri Garhwal, Hug the Trees movement in Junagadh in Gujarat, Girnar forest, Narmada Bachao Andolan in Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Gujarat. They have invited attention to women's stake in the environmental crisis. Now we come to a very mind boggling issue of new reproductive technologies. How do they impact women? It is important to examine the scientific, social, juridical, ethical, economic and health consequences of new reproductive technologies which have made women's bodies site for scientific experimentation. There are mainly three aspects of new reproductive technology: assisted reproduction, in vitro fertilization, surrogacy, egg donation, sperm donation, that means whole commercialization that has taken place of this whole scientific innovations. Genetic and prenatal diagnostic, so genetic diagnostic, genetic manipulation, prenatal diagnostic to determine the 84 conditions of the fetal conditions, medical conditions, but which is abused for sex selective abortion of female fetuses. Prevention of conception, that means contraceptive technologies, birth control technologies. It is essential to understand that interaction among new reproductive technology developers, providers, users, non-users, potential users, policy makers and representatives of international organizations. I think they have made commercialization as a name of the game, and as a result those who are at the margin of the economy and especially women have suffered the most as a result of new reproductive technology. The focus of assisted reproduction experts is on healthy women who are made to menstruate at an early age backed by hazardous hormones and steroids. The processual dimensions involve use of counselors, technodocs and researchers. There is an utter disregard for consequences, for example, women's pain, carcinogenic and mutagenic implications, vaginal warts, extreme back pain, arthritis, sclerosis, heavy bleeding, growth of hair on face, nose, chin, cheeks, joint pains associated with uterine contractions for production of multiple eggs, Networks between stake groups has only one goal, impregnating a woman for embryo production, which in Technodocs language is called assisted reproduction. Embryos and fetuses are used for cure of Parkinson's disease among influential and aging patriarchs. Side effects like growth of mustache or deformation of teeth or dietary requirements of women's health are totally ignored in commercialized setting. So, India says there are several countries in the world who do not allow assisted reproduction for commercial purpose. So, you can't sell egg, you can't use a surrogate by paying her money, but on a altruistic way you can do it, like if you among the relatives, among the friends, without any commercial interest. If you are ready to give these services, it is allowed in certain countries. The technology of sex selection, which allows selective elimination of unwanted fetus in Indian context, in Chinese context, in Asian context, it would be unwanted fetus would be female fetus. Selection of male as at a preconception stage is also possible because of rapid advances in the field of new reproductive technologies. It has created a situation where there has been a breakdown of moral consensus with respect to medical ethics and gender justice. Technodocs refuse to see the larger context, future implications and also the gender implications of abuse of this technology. The remark made by the Member Secretary of Maharashtra State Commission for Women in the 2005, Dr. Madam Tekekara, is very apt, and I quote, "The attempt at legitimizing vetoing of female life even before it appears is worse than the earlier abortion related violence in the womb, precisely because it is so sanitized and relies on seemingly sane argument against policing of human rights in a democracy in the intensely personal matter such as procreation. This needs to be resisted at all cost." The nation states have been coached to implement new reproductive technologies in secrecy in line with programs executed by G8 in Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Bangladesh to achieve population stabilization and 2.1 growth rate of population, net reproduction rate of 1, where a mother is replaced by only one daughter. That is envisaged, and they think that these new reproductive technologies come handy. These have an inherent sexist bias because it desires birth of only one daughter while 1.1 son, and when you multiply 0.1 into crores of population, then the number is very, very large. Those who support sex determination and sex selection view this test as helpful to achieve NRR1. However, this will further widen the gap between number of girls and number of boys in the country, as it is 100 million women have gone missing due to femicide and female infanticide, ill treatment and discrimination over last 100 years in South Asia. We need to understand the power relations within the new reproductive technologies. The search for quote unquote perfect baby through genetic screening, antenatal sex determination test, pre-implantation diagnosis, commercialization of sperm or commercialization of egg donation, commercialization of motherhood and hormonal contraceptives raise many socio-cultural, legal and ethical questions which are unanswered. Division of labor among women to control women's sexuality, fertility, labor by utilizing homophobia or pitting women of different race, religion, age, looks to suit the interest of NRTs will serve the interest of patriarchy, medical mafia, pharmaceutical industry, scientists, technodocs at the cost of vulnerable, poor women from South. So, it is the women who are poor, who are colored, who are at the margin of the economy, they are the ones who are going to be the surrogate and who have been the surrogate. It is important to understand that reproduction has an individual as well as social dimension. While examining birth control practices, an individual is a unit of analysis. While examining population control policies, we have to analyze the pros and cons of new reproductive technologies, national governments, population control organizations, multinational pharmaceutical industries, public and private funded bodies, medical researchers, health workers who shape women's choices, that women's autonomy or control at a micro or macro levels. Informed consent and medical malpractice, I think these are the two again very important issues we need to discuss. Power relations in the medical market favor the technodocs, and the clients are not given full details of the line of treatment and its consequences, that is ethically wrong. Respect for diversity, adoption of child or children is a far simpler, more humane solution than subjecting women to undergo extremely elaborate and hazardous infertility treatment. New reproductive technologies had such controversial issues involved in it, but not all new technologies are harmful to women. We have seen that the new technologies which are helping women in last 20-30 years in our country, where even ordinary women can afford to harvest the simple services offered by new technologies in terms of kitchen and household appliances, grinder, mixer, churner, cutters. They are very useful to housewives. Our time in the kitchen has reduced. Now the modern working woman would spend less than 1 hour in the kitchen thanks to all these kitchen appliances. Middle and upper class women, their drudgery have been drastically reduced for cooking, cleaning and carrying. Introduction of computers, office automation has reduced manual administrative chores. It has enhanced the connectivity. Internet has eased the communication. Many internet savvy women get assignments without running from pillar to post. They can be self-employed, they can be home-based workers, they can perform their care work along with their wage work. Mobile revolution has made women more secure as they can coordinate their work and home lives more efficiently and also with a sense of security. New range of easily manageable automobiles such as two-wheelers or four-wheelers have encouraged many women with purchasing power to own vehicles so that they can remain mobile even during the late nights and early mornings. Women entrepreneurs are reaping best harvest from the new technologies of video conferencing, teleconferencing, e-commerce, use of ATM and cashless transaction, use of credit cards, and self-help groups of women and even rural women's banks are using smart cards for financial transaction. Information and training for simple harvesting of economic services are extremely important. There is a need to start information kiosks for women in rural and urban centers. Industrial training centers must provide opportunities to women to deal with all non-traditional and modern technologies. Training women in modern technology should be looked at as an investment rather than as expenditure. Thank you very much.